Today, we are going to talk for the Salesforce Flow automation tool best practices. We'll cover a couple of use cases, and of course, we'll make it little engaging. So you can also share some of the tips, and you can ask question. We'll discuss together. Well, so little bit about me. As already introduced, I am Om Prakash, and I am running a Salesforce consulting company, Appy Crown, from Motihari, India. I'm a Salesforce architect, having 14 certifications, and I'm in the Salesforce ecosystem from last 10 plus years. Prior to that, I was a Java developer. We can connect on the LinkedIn and Twitter. These are my profiles. Looking forward to connect. Okay, so yeah, I hope everyone is aware about Salesforce Flow. If not, then yeah, just I'm giving a little background like Salesforce Flow, powerful tools for automations and building some
Okay.
good skills.
No, I
We
think.
can of course create some automations, and at the same times we can also create some screen. We can handle some good navigation. Of course we can call LWC from flow, and every complex logic we can simplify with the drag and drop. Well, so today we are going to cover some of the best practices, keeping in mind starting with very basic to advanced. So let's start with very basic but very important. First thing, like when we start building Salesforce Flow, or I can say any implementation in Salesforce, first thing, just start documentation. Well, so like in this document, I'm not talking about the business requirement, and I'm not talking about the functional document. This document, you can see this one quick example. Okay, object account. Maybe I'm going to replace some of the process builder or some of the workflow rule. Then what is the use of that workflow rule? Like if this is type of create or update, so once you document the need of automation, then based on this document we can decide if we need to go with before or we have to go for after. Like if we are going for record triggered flow, then we have context of before and after, and this document will help us. At same time, once we start documenting, we can take a call if this flow will launched from the button, or this flow will launched from any process, or it will launch automatically. Do you need a subflow? So this is just this type of we can follow one strategy. Okay, what is use of my flow, how my flow will be run, and who will be the end user, like if it will be process oriented or it will be like going to interact with user. So here I personally follow this strategy with my team. Firstly, like let's gather the information. Okay, what is input for my flow and what is output for my flow? This is very helpful when we are going to declare any variable. So we can decide if we need to make mark this variable input only, or we need to mark that variable output. So means, okay, let's say my flow getting called from a button, then I am taking one record ID, or maybe I am taking some additional input fields, then my variable will mark as input only. Okay, now let's say my flow is calling LWC. Just for example, means I have to pass some variable, some value to the LWC. So we need to mark some variable as a output. At same time, source of information, like as I was talking in the documentation part, what is source of information, how input is coming? Let's say one very basic example. Once account will be updated, we need to update some of the fields on the contact. Means here we are taking the information from account record. If we mentioned somewhere, it's very easy to apply the logic in the flow. And of course, logical part, let's say we need to take decision. Okay, if account type is partner, then I need to do some specific logic. If account type is customer, I need to go and perform some different logic. So just if I'm writing this in document, this is going to help me take a decision in the flow, and we are of course going to save some time there. What actions we need in the flow? Because in the flow we are taking any actions, either we are sending email, we are creating record, or we are going to update the record. So here, before building, generally once we documented this info, then we are going to speed up our development process, and we are going to match the requirement of our end user. So before I go for next slides, just I will take a 1 minute break. If any question and any concern, or if any one of you want to add some extra points in document and just gathering the requirement, let's discuss quickly. You can also text in the chat. And for the in-person team there, like people who is sitting in person, maybe just one of you please take the question and you can text in the chat as well.
So far, so good, man.
Thank you. Okay. Now coming on the debugger part, like
Can you,
Excuse me?
can you go back one slide?
yeah,
So when you say source of information and information, I was wondering if people get confused with those two.
okay, perfect. So here just I'm combining information, like let's say input and output. Like if I go to flow, quickly let me open that flow builder, flow. Let's say new flow. Okay, so just let me choose a start from scratch. For example, here I am taking screen flow, and let's create some resources. New resource type variable. I'm just creating, or let's say account ID. Okay, now this account ID will be text type, and here I need to make available input. Means once this flow will be called, I am taking the account ID. So this will be my input. Okay.
Okay,
Let's
stop there. So the input and output are the fields or the objects itself?
yes. So here in this, I am referring for especially for the fields, like just input
Okay,
and output from the flow. And let's say outcome of the flow, like what we are, let's say if this is screen flow, then what we are taking from user, just input information. And again, how we are passing some information outside, that can be output. And again, coming to your question, that can be variable text, or maybe that can be record as well. Like okay, we are passing the entire account record outside of this flow, so it can be anything. That's
okay.
that's it.
And the source of the information, you're basically trying to decide whether that's been inputted or whether it's coming from some other object.
Yes,
Okay. Okay, keep on
right.
going then.
Yeah, so source of information, let's as I was talking in one example, let's say if this is automated flow, and it's running once a record is created, so of course I'm taking the information from that record variable. So yeah, I will come on some more details on that, but yes, here I was referring source of information, how we are taking the info, and info can be input and output steps.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so here especially debugger, let's say here I'm talking multiple like debugger part. First thing, we all know we have powerful tools here, debug option. Like let me just quickly add one screen here. Let's add just text. Let's give a name. And yeah, just very simple. Just in the screen, we are taking one input variable. Again, just input field, I can say last name. Just I have dragged the text from here. Okay, let's give a name. I think yeah, I give in the welcome for now. Done. And here, again, very simple. I'm keeping this example very simple. On this screen, I need to display the value. So I am just taking display text. Okay, give a name. Let's say message. And here, I'm just going to debug or not debug. I can print the same value what user entered, last name. This last name coming here under the resource screen component last name. So in this, let's give a name. Let's say info. Okay, very basic. Just I have one screen. In this screen, just I have added one text name, last name. Okay. Now on the another screen, I have taken display text and just I am printing what user is going to enter value here. Same variable you can see last name, API name, last name. On the second screen, I am just using last name. Okay, let me save this. Save. Okay, this is again, I will come on that screen as well. Description, adding description is very important here. Let's say I'm going to just sample demo for screen input and info. Okay, just what is screen flow. Okay, so before I go and run this flow and test this flow, we have debug, right? Just click debug. Okay, let's run. I'm going to put, let's say, Prakash. Okay, and here the debug we can check like how the flow started. Om Prakash, current user, started the flow. Now next, and here we can check. Okay, on the screen, welcome, text box, last name, value at runtime Prakash. Then user clicked next. So this is very basic, just one step. But no matter how much step we have, we can check everything here. Like, okay, what we are expecting, if this flow is working as per our expectations. And yeah, now it's finished. So this one of the way to debug the flow. Second, very important, like if this flow is running in the real time, after making this active, I have added this to any of the page. I can see maybe home page or maybe on the record page. Then again, I can go to the setup and we can enable our debug logs from here. Debug logs. So here on this screen, just I'm trying to say, always use a debugger so we can check how our flow is running before making it live for the users. Okay. Of course, the part of the debugging, but in the real time, like when users are using some screen flow and let's say flow failed, how we will check as a system admin or as a support users, we can go to the setup And here let's type failed. Here we have paused and failed flow interviews under the process automations. And here, if I go to this list view, all failed flow, we can check details here. If my flow failed in real time, like if any, uh, let's say some user was entering some data, some validation issue occurred and flow failed, we can check the details from here. This is
I
very
have
helpful.
I have a quick question.
Please.
Yeah, so usually like when I debug flow, I just use the debug to within the flow builder, right?
Right.
So what's this debugging section can do different with the debug tool in the flow builder? What's the difference?
Okay. So difference between this part you are talking?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So so this is for development time. Like, okay, I have just developed this. Okay. Now, before making this live to the user, I am able to check this. I am just running this. Now think, let me do one thing. Here in the same example, let me show you with a quick demo. So we have taken the last name. Now here, if I have just used create record, okay, and let's create a lead from here. Okay, create lead one. Just let's enter manually because currently I have no any record variable yet, so I'm going to choose manual. Now lead. So what I am going to do here, I'm going to create one lead record from the info that was entered by user. Okay. Now the company name, put let's put the last name what user has chosen. And now let's put company name. We can take one screen more here. Okay. Let's quickly add text company required, make it required, done. And here create lead. Let me map the company field. So what we have done, just very basic, taken two input, one is company, one is last name. We have done here. This will create the record. Let's save it. So here during debugging, we'll debug it. That's fine. Of course, it will work expected. Let's quickly check debug. Prakash, screen is there. Next. Okay, we can see record is created. We have here 00Q record ID as well, right?
Mhm.
Now we are satisfied here. That's fine. We are going to make it active. Okay. Now let's go back and let's make it available for user. Just for quick demo, I'm going to add this on our account uh, layout. So open the account record, go on the here edit page, and now let me add the flow. Flow. Let me choose that flow. I think name was some demo screen flow. I think not good name, but yeah, for demo that's good. Let's keep it. Save, activate. Let me make it org wide for now. Next, save it. Okay, so what I have done, just we have developed one simple flow. We have debug, verified everything working good. We have rolled back this for our user. Like now, user will directly go on the account, and from here, let's say they have to create one lead, very basic demo. Let's say again, Prakash community. Next, okay, fine. Next. This time, I think we have not added a couple of screen, but directly record should create it. Let's go on lead and let's check. We should have Prakash here. Prakash community. Earlier I taken Prakash epic account. All working good. Now I'm coming on the answer of that question with some example. Let's say we are not aware, some other user or other developer just going to the lead, and maybe they created one of the validation rule. Phone should not blank. Okay, and here let's choose the phone field. Okay, and each blank.
Mhm.
Just they developed one of the validation rule, like let me check syntax. If phone is blank, let's don't save the lead. Okay, phone is, let's say, very simple, phone is required. Okay, perfect. So let's quickly check. Maybe I'm going to create new lead from the lead interface. So here, it's good. Phone is required, right? Okay. And remember, we just developed one of the screen flow for our end users.
Yeah.
Suppose maybe this flow is on the community, like Experience Cloud, or currently on the account. Let's go and enter last name again, demo user company. This is user now. Okay, next. Okay, there is some exception, right? End user will get something like this. This is not good. We'll come back on to handle this. But now, this time we are not using debug log and this debug, because this is in the real time end user is using. Now, maybe they will complain. They will say, "Hey, I got this error." Now, as an admin user, I just like say internal user in Salesforce, I'm going to this section, paused and failed flow. And if I go and check the failed flow, you can check these details. Click on this and it will give me details like what happened generally, failed custom validation, and now this info is very much helpful for developer. Phone is required. Once we communicate internally with help of this, maybe because phone is required, we'll be able to rebuild this flow and add the phone field here. I hope this example makes sense, like difference between that debug and this internal tools available to us.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
And
Yeah.
the other thing I'd add to that is that it's true, mostly we just look at the emails we get because we build our own flows and then we get the error message. But,
Yes.
it could happen, we have multiple team members,
Oh, yeah.
then those other people don't get the email. And so if you are troubleshooting something that maybe someone else wrote, you can go to the failed flow interviews and you can see the
Hey,
failures.
I have a question for you.
That's good.
Yeah,
Can you,
please.
can you build this flow to replace this ugly message with friendly message?
Uh, Sorry, I think some echo coming. If you can repeat, please.
Can you show us how to replace this ugly message of Salesforce to be friendly message that we defined what's going to be?
Yes, I think that's great question. Thank you for asking that. And yeah, because this is not good user experience, right? So here in the same flow, let's go back. Let me close this. This is part of that. Let me close this as well. If I come back, let's come on the flow. Let me refresh. Let me close all this so it will not distract us. Okay. Now, here we have our flow demo screen flow. Generally, I keep using this either last modified filter. So it will come on top, demo screen flow. Let's open this. And now here we are creating the record, right? Create lead. An exception occurred in this screen itself, like this element. So what we can do here, just click this. Here, add fault path. Just click on this, not on the plus icon, just on that element, create, because we know, okay, create can throw some error if validation rule fail, maybe some required field. It might be possible we developed the flow, and after making this live, some new field created, okay, or maybe some trigger failed, or any multiple region we can have, right, during update, create, or delete. So what we can do, just click on this, add fault path. Now fault path, if some of you from development background, then okay, exception, just in the apex we write try catch. So this is catch. Here, let's add one screen. Let's give a name, error message. Now on this screen, let's add one display text. Now let's say message. Yeah, display error or error display. That's fine. Okay. And here, let's put some user friendly something went wrong. Share this info to tech support, or maybe we can add the email here something. And what info? Let's click insert a resource, and here we have flow, and inside the flow there should be fault message. So I'm going to just give message something went wrong, share this info to tech support, maybe here email contact at the rate of company.com. Done. Okay, let's make the save this version. So because my flow is already running, so now I have to save as a new version. I can add some info here. Sorry, fault message added. So it will be very clear what we are doing here. Now, why not give a better name now? Okay, create lead, and let's screen save it. Let's make it active. So what we have done, just it during create, I have added one fault message. Why not let's go back on our contact account page, because on that account page we have this flow. Okay, let's go here. Just I'm keeping example account. Better example can be add on the experience cloud side. So end user can experience last name again demo. Next, next, much better than earlier. And I think this is what you wanted. Give some user friendly message.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I actually had a follow-up question to that because it's true, when you want to have a nice message, then you use that, you put in the fallback, you're catching it. But
Yes.
I like, as someone who's building the flows, I like to have that debug flow, basically that to be able to look at what the values were and to debug it. So
Right.
is there a way to have the fault message that looks nice and yet still be able to have the, the debug flow, the debug version of the flow? I haven't found a way.
Don't
Yeah.
you get the debug?
Um,
When you're in debug, you get the whole debug path.
Right,
No matter what.
this is live. So let's say you've created something. It's
So
certain file.
if you get live and you go back to the fall, or you get the email, you can click on the email.
Right. This doesn't
And-
allow it to fall. This actually hasn't faulted. It's followed the flow thing, right? You don't actually do. You don't
I think you still get.
you don't get emails when you do,
Yeah. You don't get.
but
It doesn't actually. It's cached.
Yes.
Right.
So
this is meant for end user,
Yeah.
and it is supposed to build it in a way that give you enough information how to replicate this. Because
it's-
you're giving user instructions to do this, or you can do for special message that you know how to fix it. You can give instructions to user to display how to fix problem, and they don't
Right.
need to contact you. They're self-sufficient.
Right.
But
But as an admin, you want what I'm saying is, how do I?
Yeah.
I thought you still got all the fields at least up until the message
But
and all the
if
data.
you go
up
to
until the
debug it, you will see in debug log everything. What was happening before.
I see. If you actually go to debug yourself,
Yes.
yes, it's true. I guess you can try to recreate what they did and debug it.
Idea with this is you try to make them self-sufficient or instruct them what to do instead of getting ugly message.
What if they don't know what they entered? How do you recreate what they did? Because the thing, I guess what I'm saying is, when you get a fault message and you get the actual debug screen, it's got everything. It's all there, exactly what happened.
If you like this better, it doesn't make it user friendly.
I know, but I want both.
I don't know where yet. Maybe mom knows. Try to.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know if you understand what I'm getting at.
okay.
Mom,
Yes. So I think just I was missing the conversation in the house, but yes.
How
What I got, we are talking for debug. So yes, like during debug, we can check all these, like even if failed, we can catch the reason why it's failed. And here in that context, we are talking, okay, things is already live. It was tested early, right? We have tested everything, but after making this live, if some changes happened or some exception occurred from trigger or from anywhere, we can create some user-friendly message. And here you can see again, I have done some hard code thing. That's not good practice. You can see I have written this, right? This should come from custom label. So what we can do, we can create one custom label and we can take from there, right? So now in the future, if we need to change this error message, we don't need to modify this flow, just it can be modified in the label, right? And very straightforward here, just on this page, instead of writing this, just click label and choose the label that we have created, right? Label here I am talking for the let me quickly show that custom label.
But you can ask them to just click on the fault that you created.
Here, yes.
No, on your in setup to the fault pass or whatever.
Failed, and,
yeah.
Yep.
This one.
Failed flow interviews in setup. So if you go in setup and you go to failed flow interviews, paused and failed flow interviews, not this one. So in setup, in
Go back to the setup screen.
the setup menu,
Okay, we are talking
Go-
for this one.
failed and flow. So
Yes,
And click on the
if you see
Got it.
all failed, it
previous
doesn't-
one.
click on that.
That's the previous
Yes.
one. That's the old one.
Oh, okay.
Now it will open the same details, same all info step by step. The things what we are doing earlier manually, debug button.
and there is question for you all. Fred would like to have on this error screen complete trace of the ugly way of doing this. do you know way how to make him happy? This is
But it's hard to explain. But so you know how you added a fault path, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So when you created a fault path, right, and then you
right.
provided the screen flow, right, and so when that fault path is followed, right, you don't then get an email that the flow has failed because technically it has not failed.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
and so there
Yes.
is no record of it, right?
Yes, right. Because when we added that fault path, that time we are directing our user take the action. Just go and write to our specific email address, right? And this is not like fault because we handled this. So yes, this log will not created here our in the failed flow. Yeah. Even let me so quickly if I go on this again account
In the fault path, you can
and
create
if
an
we
error.
if this will failed next this time you can see log will not increase like failed flow is not there.
I mean, the only other workaround I've done is create a table, a custom object, which is a flow fault table. And so
Yes.
I add a subflow, I just create a subflow that'll add to every fault path, which is that, so if it does this, send me an email and
yeah,
write
correct.
a,
Yeah.
write the fault,
Yeah,
all the
it-
details of the
You're
failure.
right.
But it's not the same as that screen where it's like nice and you kind of see everything and you get all the values. And
It's not.
it's not.
But it's you get an email.
Yeah, I can email myself. I can just do that. So or you set the whatever
Yes.
variable.
Right. Okay.
But yes,
So this time
you're supposed to be never get error.
Where you turn this off for a period of time.
so this time as you mentioned we can add our custom email to a specific one maybe development team or yourself. So here just yeah send email, right? Send email or call a send email alert from here. So yeah, that's uh, and especially like when we have also record triggered flow and maybe some auto launch or scheduled. If something happened wrong, we can go ahead and we can check from this failed flow. Or if we are handling if we are handling well with help of halt, then yes, we have option how we want. If you want email, and yeah, if you want your development team to take some actions. So yeah, thanks for call out. Okay. Going to next explain next one. I think yeah, this was we already covered with the question. Always set a fault path, uh, and just we have a good discussion on this, like just showing error on a screen-based flow or sending an email alert to group of people. You already shared this one, so we can skip this now and going to next. Subflow, we also discussed about the calling flow from flow. Like we have not given quick demo, but yes, if I go back to our flow, let me close this again. This is good. We are here on the latest one. Now, let's say here, after creating lead, we need let's say some additional information. Here let's talk if I talk with some industry like suppose for education sector, let's say we have to capture some of the background like educational history. So I need to add some screen. That screen will guide user to come and enter the educational info. So if I will add a new screen here, I will take the info of education, I will create record. That screen and that logic will become part of this flow itself. So why not create one new flow? Let's go back to setup. I'm here, flow, and let me create a new, again this time screen flow, and this flow will take one screen, let's say text, here text, and let's say uh, just Sorry, higher education. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's say take the educational info. Okay, just higher educational, but let's see. We are going to add a couple of fields. We are taking the graduation details. Then on the next screen, we are taking the, maybe higher education. Let's say their university details, some marks, whatever. But just keeping simple, we have one screen. After this, we'll of course have logic to create the record of education. Now let's save it. Let's say educational info screen. Okay, means we are going to use this screen for taking the education info and going to create or update the record. That's good. We are going to activate. And now if I go back to my previous flow, after lead create, instead of adding new screen, directly we can call the subflow. And here if I say education, we have our educational info screen. Create education info. Okay, done. What benefit is that now this screen can be called from multiple places, right? Maybe individually we can call from somewhere, or maybe we can call from another flow, like this. Let me save this. Just I'm trying to keep it very simple, not taking much info. But here if I go debug, oh, yeah. So as filling for this quick demo, I can quickly deactivate the validation rule. Okay. Sorry. Or I can add one field there to take the phone fields. So let's go to validation rule. Let me make this inactive because I just added for demo purpose. Now if I go back, let's debug. Yeah. After lead creation, higher education is here, and this higher education screen is not inside this, but it's coming with help of subflow. So goal is create the small and modular approach we are following. Like in programming, we create a method we use somewhere. Similarly, we are creating some small chunks, multiple flows, and we are going to combine to build more benefits. I can say, let's say if something fail in the educational process, instead of checking this complex longer flow, directly go and check the education flow. If something fail in another one, maybe employment history, go and check the employment history flow. So yeah, in future,
Question. I have a
please.
question. So
Yeah.
two questions actually. One is, if you use subflows, is there any type of performance degradations because you're calling one flow from another flow versus if you would have done the logic in the same flow?
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
question number one. And question number two, which is probably more important, is if you're going to get to that type of stuff, then is there a way you can document this stuff in the flow so that the person that has to pick that up and support it in the future can easily see what you're doing and why you're doing it? I mean, it's a great idea to have the subflows, but it's also one level of complexion that is not obvious when when a person looks at it for the first time.
Okay. So coming on the first question, I have not experienced any performance issue there. Reason being, let's say here, if we are in this example, if we are calling this create education flow, okay. Anyway, we have to create this screen, then we have to create another logic there, right? So I can't say it will go and create some performance issue, because things is just uh, in the programming. What we do, we create multiple methods and we just call that method. So during execution, it should not create some performance issue. Okay. Instead, they are providing us some benefits of reusability. We are able to reuse that, and the another benefits like you can say here something modular programming, reduced logic. Like let's say if we have to go and again develop the educational information screen in another flow or in another business logic, then I have to write the same thing again, but here we are reusing. Second question, I'm not very much clear. Can you give me some examples like what we want to achieve there in the second question one?
No, you've answered my question. Thank you. So question number two was, how can you document this in the flow?
Yes, got it. So personally, I first thing follow this one. Like if I'm going to save this education flow, in the description itself, I just write, okay, this flow can be used as subflow where you can take educational info and create record in maybe some object, let's say education C. Okay, so just some of the details here. Now save it. In naming, we
Description.
sorry, please go ahead.
I mean, you'd have to put a lot of data in there before it fills.
Okay.
Yeah, and what we do, we
Document.
can.
One of the good things of it is that you go to the flow that's calling the subflow. I mean, you can, they added that feature where you can launch the subflow from the original flow. So you
Yes.
don't have to go, I didn't set up or something. You can just, it references it and then you can just go directly there. So it does
Right.
help.
That description field is pretty
Yeah.
pretty key.
Every
And
description
even
field.
even if you're not even adding subflows or whatever, you know, updating it as you make your change to your
Oh, yeah.
flow is pretty key.
But also a subscription fee on the subflow
We'll also, yeah.
element itself.
Yeah.
And you can reference like, what is it doing?
So, well, can you use subflows for record trigger flows? Can you have a trigger flow inside a record trigger flow?
Well, so yes, in the record triggered flow as well, we can call some of the auto launched flow. So yes, logically we can say yes, we can call some of the auto launched flow from the record triggered flow.
So basically, you have an auto launch flow, and then you have a subflow of the trigger flow.
No,
Yes.
you have trigger flow and you have auto launch flow that is subflow of this trigger.
So subflow has to be of a different type, you know, that's
It's just different type of flow that you call it in screens versus.
So that means you have to rewrite the. So if you have, say, I have object A, whatever account, and I already have 5 record trigger flows. I have to rewrite them as
No,
auto
You can
launches.
save them
No.
as a.
You save them as auto
No.
launch.
No, let's you want to execute same thing on 5 different objects. This is,
No,
but
no.
let's give you an example.
That's not the example I care about.
Okay. just give me-
So the example is I wrote 5 record
Trigger
trigger
flow.
flows
Okay.
on account. To Kevin's point earlier, performance does get impacted
Not
with
really.
a little bit. If you run, like I have some pretty large flows that do carry on. So if I combine them all into one account, then I can manage and I can execute as needed rather than having to figure out which.
Actually, this
which
is more,
rows.
this is more take off on performance than not. Because if you properly use entry criteria on your flows, flow doesn't run, it doesn't match criteria. So,
But it still has to go check.
no, it doesn't go to check anything. It's checking criteria, it doesn't launch anything. If you do it this way and you use flow execution was there to
Yeah, you
manage.
could have a decision and pass in there, yes.
No decisions. You don't get in the flows. You just manage before flow is loaded in the memory. Does this need to run or not? This is the best practice implementation.
So Salesforce is saying the best practice is actually to
One flow
put
per
one-
object. No.
Yeah, well, that's what they're
No,
saying.
this is
Well,
not
that's
true.
what they
This
said
this is
before.
what they were saying before. Before they give us flow.
I used to do it that way too, but then in the last couple of years, really, especially as the flows become so powerful.
When
Well,
they
I've seen
launched
it-
Flow
I've seen it as
Explorer,
recently as like 3 months ago saying,
but this is
Still one
this
flow.
this is junior Salesforce guy that was talking with you.
Okay.
Because since they launched Flow Explorer, what is they give you framework to execute as you wish in order,
but the,
then this is not best practice.
so with the Explorer though, you can still launch. You go into the Explorer and you sort of say for object A, go check and see which of my flows.
No, you go to
That just sets the order. Like you can decide the order of which flow
Run
checks first. That's all.
But if you're doing that, aren't you still,
it doesn't load flow when you're ordering. It just say order of execution, and before flow is taken to memory, it's checked for criteria, entry criteria, and if entry criteria doesn't match, doesn't load flow in memory at all, and you need to think in ways that you always have flow criteria for the piece of logic that you want to build on the tree.
right, so, but if you're saying that it doesn't execute, how does it know the order? Does
So
it
you
have to
just
order,
use all
order,
entry
order?
criteria. You just say F on entry criteria, nothing else. And then doesn't load anything what is inside the flow.
Fair enough, but it's still checking the entry
Yes,
criteria in
that
the
does
order,
that.
in the order that you want.
Yes.
But this is much faster than loading this in memory and then do decision and trees and all this.
So if we summarize, like yes, record triggered flow can call the auto launch flow because we can't call the screen flow there. So yes, but that can be, as you mentioning, five record triggered flow. So logically, like if one object, then yes, one record triggered flow and four auto launch flow can be called. Yeah. So thank you. Okay.
I hadn't heard
Now
of those
I think
formats. That's what
this is very important. If you can talk quickly for this, like loops and some DML, like even let's go quickly to the flow. And here in the same flow, or let's say I'm going to create new flow. Okay, new.
Sorry, we are past 5. How long we need for your finish?
Yes. So we will wrap up in the next 5 minutes. That's fine.
Thank you. All right, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So I think this is one of the important one I wanted to try just quickly. Let's say if record trigger flow, a record trigger flow, create, and let's say object account. Okay. And here, suppose I have loop. Okay. And of course, before loop, let's suppose I am going to take all the record, let's say get records, get all contacts, and here contact, and let's say account id equals record id. Means what I am doing, I'm going to get all the contacts related to the current account that was modified. And here now inside loop, if I'm going to assign some value to one contact, like in the loop, I can use once again get all records. Here I should choose all records, right? That's then it will become collection. So in the get all records, I have chosen the all records. Now in the loop, I can choose that. Okay, all contacts means on the contacts. Let's give a better name here for each contact. Okay. And here, if I'm adding assignment, assign description, and what I'm going to do for the loop, current item from the contact description means I'm taking one contact, I'm putting description equals, let's say some value will come. As of now, just I'm putting demo. Okay. And just after this, here I'm going to use update, let's say update record, update contact, and if I'm going to choose current one. Okay, so here's the problem, right? Because we in the for loop we are doing update, and it will like in the come in the corner limit, right? It will fail once we cross that corner limit of create record. So what is best practice here? Remove this delete from here. Just here in the assignment itself, let's introduce one collection variable. Let's say new resource variable, and let's say all contacts, this time record and object contact. I'm just creating a variable of collection, like multiple contact can be there, so I'm going to mark allow multiple, done, and let's add all contacts. And what we need to add, the current one, current item, this one. So just assign to the contact, add to this collection variable, and after last element here, do update, update records, update all contacts, all contacts. So in this example, what we are doing, we are just following best practice. We are assigning inside the loop, and after last, we are saving it. Update contact. Now, if I go and just create one, generally I should take some better, not create, because maybe I can take the create or update, right? Benefit is this, like I'm assuming one account will have multiple contacts, and once I will edit that account, that time all contacts description will be updated. So just here, always use the collection and avoid the border limits. So in this example, we just created the collection variable. Well, I think this is very basic. We should always go and start in the sandbox or developer org. Don't do hard coding of IDH. We should keep saving the progress, and of course huge debug we have discussed. We also discussed about the descriptions, good naming conventions, so that your another developer or admin can manage well. If you have having some apex action, then again some meaningful label and meaningful variable name is helpful. Description of flow and variable, like in this example I created a couple of variables in our flow. That time we should also during new variable we all have option to add description, so later you can easily identify what we have used. Well, so I think we also covered the hands-on practices along with our demo. So yeah, any question we can quickly discuss, and we have some learning resources which I taken here, the content from the architect.salesforce automation tools, some of the admin tools. Yeah, anything we can discuss. And thank you very much for having me today and listening me. And
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
You know how that screen is sort of like,
No, from him.
that's him?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh,
Yeah.
not Debbie.
No,
It's in Zoom.
I think it's a.
It's in Zoom and
Yeah.
how he's doing it.
Okay, thank you, and I think we are good here.
Sandy.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good day. Have a good remaining meetup.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Hey, Alex, thank you for jumping on. Can you hear us?
He's got to mute.
Unmute him, click on the mute button.
Yes, I'm sorry. Hey guys. Hey, I was having trouble unmuting myself.
Yeah, we hear you now. Pretty good.
All right, perfect.
I will hand over to you. So let's get started. It's a little bit over 5 now. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I'll be mindful of your time, guys.
Mhm.
All right. So let me share my screen. You can see my Excel, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we
So,
can.
hey, first of all, thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to present. And I heard you guys, some of you already use our tools. You mentioned Excel Connector, which is actually our other tool that I'm not going to present today. But like, if you have any questions, if you want me to switch to that tool, I can do that as well. Basically, what we do is integration of any spreadsheet software with Salesforce. So we have connectors for Google Sheets, for Excel 365, and Excel, like the regular older Excel versions. And there's no plan here, so feel free to interrupt me at any time. I'm going to be mindful of your time, so I'm not going deep into all the settings, everything we have there. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer afterwards. But I'll just cover the basic functionality and show you a couple of use cases. If you guys have any like use cases, the business problems that you are looking to solve in terms of connecting Excel or Google Sheets with Salesforce, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So yeah, and the reason I chose this tool instead of the one that I believe it was whoever introduced. Made the introduction at the beginning of the meeting, mentioned Excel Connector.
Yeah, me. Yeah, probably wrong name.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you probably are using a different tool, so that will be helpful to you as well. I'll show you a different one. Because Microsoft slowly transitions from COM add-ins. They no longer support COM add-ins. Because that's only on Windows, to these sidebar type add-ins, and this is supported on Windows, on Macs, in Excel Online, everywhere. That's why I think this is going to be more beneficial. In terms of data loading, it's completely it does the same things as the regular Excel connector. So I'll just do that, and yeah, I guess I can start. So I already logged into Salesforce. I don't want to waste you guys' time. So it's like when you first open this, it's going to prompt you to log into Salesforce, and just the regular SSO or non-SSO login works. So the tool essentially it falls into our overall strategy, and just a couple of remarks on how this came about. I was a Salesforce developer probably 15 years ago. I worked for GE Capital, and what I found I struggled a lot with loading sandboxes, like with data or managing data, deduplicating it, like all kinds of everything that you normally do with data loader just took an enormous amount of time. I had to prepare a CSV file, save it, load it, get the error files, and then match them, like the errors to actual lines in the CSV file, correct the errors, save a CSV again, and so forth. So it's like time consuming. So what I came up with is Excel Connector, and this is the next version of it, where you basically can pull and push data between Salesforce and Excel without leaving it whatsoever. So I'm going to show you like a quick demo of the main features. Like, for example, I can run a report here with like any report that is that exists in Salesforce. I can pick, so I can search through them. I can choose, I can have filters, choose the columns I want to pull. So the filters are additional. So you can have your filters in Salesforce on the report, but if you want to additionally filter it down, you can do it. So I'm not going to do it right now. So I'll just run this. This is a simple, quick key and run. It runs the report. The report now sits in my Excel and it's saved. So the link to it is saved. Whenever I want to refresh it, I can simply, like, there's a home page here. I can click on refresh data. I can do it in all worksheets if I have multiple reports. which is very useful when you want to combine some data. So some tables you cannot join in the same report, so you can have them in different reports, and then join them using pivot tables or other Excel tools on a home page. So when you have multiple reports, you can do all worksheets, and it's with one click, it will refresh everything. It will recalculate all formulas. It will recalculate all pivot tables. So like just one click and everything is nice and fresh. So right now I'll just do, you can see it's pretty quick. I don't have a lot of data here, but we tested it with like thousands, hundreds of thousands, actually, thousands of records. It's not as fast, but it's pretty decent. So you can use this with up to 1 million rows in Excel, and that's only because this is how much Excel supports. You cannot have more than 1,048,000 rows in Excel. Also, with the 365 version, because we are now online and it's basically sitting in SharePoint and supports SharePoint, supports Excel Online and all the Excel versions, you can actually schedule the execution of this report. And that's probably something that those of you who use the older version of Excel Connected don't know about. They don't have that because the older version is strictly in Excel for Windows, and it's not a cloud app. But here I'll quickly show this because that's a very common use case with our users. That's I actually use it myself because we have like only 1 or 2 licenses in Salesforce, and if I want to share a sheet, something from Salesforce with my coworkers who I don't want to buy a license for, I just hook the report up to a worksheet, Google Sheet or Excel sheet, and I set it up for automatic refresh. So it basically keeps the data fresh, and people can just open a sheet and take a look at the data. Right now, I basically need to save this sheet to SharePoint. Let me do that. Otherwise, it won't be able to access it. And I'll click on try again. Now it will ask me to log into my Microsoft account because that needs, again, it needed this access. And that's it. I can now click on new action, pull data. There are different options. I can, if I want to do weekly, daily, hourly, or there's one, you can even trigger this from Salesforce, but that requires our managed package. So if you want the users to click on a button in Salesforce and refresh a report or a SOQL query somewhere on SharePoint, that's possible. I'm not going to cover that because that's like a little bit more advanced. Right now, I'll just do hourly, save it, and that's it. Now I can close this sheet, go home, and this is going to be refreshing every single hour in SharePoint, and whoever I share this sheet with will have can open the sheet and always see the fresh data. So that's again, I sidetracked a little bit from the data loading functions, but I think this is important, and that's a very powerful capability to have. Now, I'm going to switch a little bit to the mass import, like mass update, which we allow as well, because this report is a good transition. So I can actually, now that I have the report in my spreadsheet, I can work on it. If this is like a bunch of test data, some real data from as well. So let's just make it simple. Let's say I wanted to filter this data based on, like I don't care about all the stages here, but I'll just do quote sent opportunity stage, and it filtered it. Oh, by the way, when we pull data, if it's a pick list, we will build these nice data validation tools in Excel, so you can actually change it very easily. You don't have to know the pick list values by heart. For example, this one, the type is a pick list as well, so we build these drop downs for you. And also filtering is respected. So in this case, all my quote sent opportunities, let's say they all got the quote and ordered the product, whatever we are selling. I can switch that to close one, quickly expand this, and now all the rows are selected. So I can say update selected. The first time I do it, I have to map the columns to fields in Salesforce. So I'll go through mappings here, and since I'm not updating anything except for the stage, I can just check my opportunity ID. That's the the identifier you need for the update, and the stage. So before I leave here, this is basically it. I could just run it, but before I leave here, just one more capability. If I have the opportunity ID column, that's why it's always like better to use the ID when you're updating. But if you happen not to have the ID, we allow you to match records by any text field on the object. So if let's pretend I didn't have the ID, I can uncheck this, and I can use opportunity name in this case. So I'll check this one, and I'll map the name to column to opportunity ID field. And as soon as I map it to an ID or a lookup or master detail relationship, it pops up this little drop down called if not ID match by. So this lists all the text fields. Sometimes they're not relevant. The next steps are probably all the same. You can't match by them. But if it's a unique field, like name, sometimes, in most cases, names are unique, not necessarily, but if it's not unique, it will just throw an error. So I can do this, confirm the mappings. There are all kinds of options here. I'll just briefly go through them. Like, for example, you can control the batch size. You can choose to load empty values or bypass duplicate check. You can, by default, it's run asynchronously. So it's we try to load as much as data as possible. Probably not relevant for these like 10 or 15 records, but when you're uploading hundreds of thousands of them, that makes a difference. And yeah, also supports sheet protection. So but you can build this template for your sales rep, for your regular users, and then disallow them from using updates or inserts ad hoc, so they won't be able to map anything. But if you save this, we call it a flow step, like an action. If you save it into the spreadsheet, you can even like protect the full sheet and make the flow steps run just in a click of a button, and the users don't have access to any mappings. So if you are sure, if you want to give this capability to the users but don't want them to mess up the data, you just enable one field for update, and they can do it. They can do mass uploads without being knowledgeable enough to set up mappings, basically. But that's off topic. Sorry, I'm being distracted. So I'll save this. I could have actually. I was here. So just to run it, I can click on run and save, or I can save it. So when we say save, this whole thing, the mappings, all the settings are saved as a reusable package. We call a flow step, which is like shown right here. And I can run it using the run button, and I can rerun it later. So let me run it right now. So I'll just run it. And you can see a couple of records did not update. We keep track of everything in a separate sheet. So all the manual updates, you can see there's like row 25, just one row didn't update. Everything else looks like it did. And also the results. And that's like what makes it very easy and quick to use, that all the results are coming back and are just dumped to the right of your data, one column over. So you could quickly see, hey, this one is something's wrong. So, we have 2 opportunities with the same name, or even 37 of them. That's why it could not be uploaded. And I remember I chose to match by names. That's why the error. If I now go back to this, and I'll just change this to opportunity ID. Now I'll use the IDs. I have them. And save. So yeah, this one, this flow step, this collection of settings and mappings, it's there. It's reusable. So now I can just click on one row. It can be, I can select the whole row, or the selection can be anywhere within the table, and run it. And it will just run for one. You can see now it's successfully updated because we use the ID. So and that can be also reused later. So you keep working on the opportunities. For example, let's still like pick all of them. Now I wanted to maybe convert a couple of information inquiry to quote send. So I'll do this. I'll run this. And there you go. These guys are updated. So the mappings are there. I don't have to worry about them anymore. Right. So that's and this is I showed you update. We support pretty much everything that Salesforce, not pretty much everything Salesforce API supports. This is creation of as import, updating, upserting, and that's it. Yes. Deleting, undeleting as well. So whatever the data loader operation you want to do, you can do it directly from here, and it's just gonna work. And it's gonna work faster with preserving all the filtering, like everything. Do you guys have any questions on the uploads?
Will the upload download like also has similar function like data loader? You can reference associate related object record.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this case, I just did it on using opportunity ID as identifier. If I wanted to, you mean like lookup, right? Lookup field.
Yeah. Lookup field,
So
master.
So, yeah, absolutely. So anything you can do in data loader, you can do here. This is the data loader inside of Excel. But just to show you the oh wait, no, this is not it. So this is the mappings that I used. And I just updated stage. If I wanted to update the account associated with the opportunity, here I can do account name. This column contains account names. And it's right now mapped wrongly, but I can map it to account ID. And by default, it's name. So it will, if it's not ID, it will match by name. So now if I was, for example, I'll save this. Let's find something that is not duplicate. So for example, this Vera Insight, I can copy this name and I will paste it here. Right? So this record, and then I'll upload it. Let's double check that it's successfully updated. Oh, another cool trick that we have is I can select any ID in the data and I can say open in Salesforce. Just to quickly double check what happened there. If I want to take a look at it from Salesforce. So you can see opportunity call tower, but now it's mapped to the account Vera Insight.
Yeah, great.
So
Thank you.
That's basically that. Now I'm going back to pooling data. The first thing I showed you was a report, because that's the easiest. You can pull a report. A lot of users have their reports, a couple of clicks and you have them. But if you want to be more granular and you don't have to know exactly like the syntax of the SLQL queries, it helps, but we have tools to, even if you don't know the query, to pull. But if you want to basically build a report on the fly, and so let's say, let me just I can click on import data and select SLQL query. And let's do the same. Let's do opportunities again. So I'll do opportunity. And I can basically build the report on the fly. I can do ID, name, description, stage, name, amount. That's all I need. Can do filters. For now, I'll just do very simple query without filters. Run it, and it goes to a new sheet. So that's all my opportunities basically that I have in the system pulled. Same way as the report. If I wanted to rerun this, I can click on refresh active sheet, and it refreshes. Also, all these pools, all these SQL queries or reports are also saved inside of what we call a flow step. Just two different types of flow steps, one pull data and one push data. You can also have custom types as well. So you can combine your, you can create logic. In one flow, you can run a query, you can run a report, and then you can update it. So there's multiple steps there. But for now, I'll just keep it simple. So I can run it from here as well. This is the same as clicking on refresh. It just reruns that query and puts the data here. You know what? I'm going to let me delete this. I did it wrong a little bit. I wanted to show you some more advanced functionality around the SQL query. So let's build a template here that can be reused by your sales reps, for example. So I'll say, let's just write your account. So that's going to be like our account. And what we allow you to do is also is there's the context tab, so you can build lookups inside of Excel. And when I say lookup, think about a lookup control in Salesforce. When you are on the opportunity and you are in the lookup field, which is account, which links to the account, and you want to change the account, basically what we did initially in the report. We can turn any cell into this kind of lookup. So I can say assign lookup. I'll say this is going to be the account, and the field is this is what I'm going to be looking up by. So if I wanted for some reason to look up accounts by phone, I could do that. I'll just do name here. And optionally, I can put my ID into any cell in the sheet. So let's say C1, right? We're saving the ID there. Now, so this is going to be our controls for, as soon as I'm here, now I can click, and this is the search. So I can search in, now it's connected to Salesforce. So if I search for it, it will bring all the accounts that are that have test in them, or I don't know, something like this. So here are all the accounts. As soon as I click on it, the name is populated here and the ID is populated. So now I can use this ID or name in the query. So another thing also here, if I found whatever it was found, there's a little button here that will take me to Salesforce, and I can take a look at this account if I want to. So now this is built, I can go back to the home page and say import data, SLQL query, and let's do opportunity. And then again, I'll pick my fields, just the regular stage, amount, probability, close date, close the description, that's fine. So now in the filters manager, I can, I want to only pull opportunities for the selected account. So I can do actually, you know what? Let me go back. That's another capability that I haven't mentioned. So you can, whatever the related fields are, you can extend them. So we drill down up to 5 levels, or up to 6 levels, I think, of relationships. So you can pick fields from the related objects. In this case, I want to pick the account name. And now under filters manager, I'll say whenever account ID equals, and I'll say like pick the value from this cell and apply. Now, before running this, I want to make sure that the data doesn't overwrite what I've set up, so it will go to A5. And also, I don't want to create a new worksheet, so I want it to be here. So that's it. I can click on run and save, and now you can see the I picked them. I'll probably have one opportunity per account, so I picked the member trust company. Now it pulled the opportunity. If it had more opportunities, it would pull more. I can come in here, go to context, and select a different, like Lansdale group, for example. Click on refresh data, and they don't have anything. Okay, let's try something else. I was hoping they would. American Tower. There we go. So, and you can see it now account matches. So it basically pulls whatever I have here. We can even, this one, the ID, like if you're preparing it, this template for users, you can do hide the ID. The ID is there, it's just in white color, so they don't see it. Or you can hide the whole column if it's like outside of the data. So that's basically, these capabilities make it possible to build dynamic templates for your users to use, both for pulling data and for pushing data. With pushing, you may want to be more careful, but you're in control. So the users don't have the ability to set up their own mappings. They can just reuse whatever the Excel template you built for them. Now, I remember I was switching between context and home to refresh. To work around this, this is my selection. We can even do things like putting a button on the spreadsheet. So I can, in this flow, I can go to settings and say run button, and just pull this range, save it, and now we have a button here. I can the name on it can can be changed easily. So I'll say refresh. So now I go here, I change my account to something else, and I click on refresh, and it refreshes, and now I have a different one. So again, another, yes, I can use it. You'll use the plugin to trigger something, but I can also have it like right on the sheet. So
We have Alex.
yeah.
We have few questions on the online in the chat. Can you take it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me. I'm sorry. I don't have my browser open. Let me. Chat.
In the,
Chat. Okay. So what are we? Yeah. So this is similar to data loader. The update insert. This is a free trial. Look, you will get 30-day free trial, but once the trial is out, you'll have to pay. We don't charge a lot. It's like a very nominal fee. It's $2.99 per year, but we do charge for it together with the automatic like operation. So if you want to run something automatically, that's part of a. But everything is part of a free trial. So the first 30 days, you get access to all the features. Now, permissions, well, permissions are respected, whatever is in Salesforce. So whatever role profile combination you have for the logged in user, that's going to be respected. Additional permissions that we impose, it's not even permissions, it's more access to the UI. So you can disable any of the buttons on for certain users. So they, for example, if you don't want them to be able to insert, update, or upsert, delete, that's fine. You can disable this, and the users won't see the buttons. But for that, you need to have a subscription, a corporate subscription, and control your users. Like we have a customer portal for that. Let's see. Okay, I think that's it. Did you guys have any more questions?
no, we are good. We are good here.
So I can just take like 2 or 3 minutes additionally to show you a different. That's the one you guys were referring to initially, the our older plugin, and it does pretty much same things except for automation in SharePoint. However, since you are Salesforce professionals, I thought you might be interested in a couple of things that we have here, additionally to what I showed in terms of data loading. This one is that's an older plugin and that's why we were adding all kinds of things here. One of them is you can download files to and from Salesforce in bulk. So if you need to ever manage files, it's very easy from here. And then another one is like we have a selection of metadata tools. So I'm not going to go through all of them. I can show you one, but just as an overview, you can manage custom metadata, validation rules, workflow rules, the restriction, scoping rules, like flows and processes, pick list, fields, field level security, object level security. That's a big one. If you have like a bunch of fields and a bunch of profiles or permission sets that you want to adjust field level security for, that's easy from here. And then tab visibility, not as widely used. I can show you one of them, like manage fields. You can basically run it for, it's selected on test objects right now, but for any object you can run it, and you have your complete picture of all the fields with all the settings of like every setting on the field that you can update is here. You can go through this, like let's say you wanted to update description and help text for fields that are empty. Oh, sorry, for some reason I have this. Yeah. So I can do test, right? Something like this. So this whole thing, and I can say update all. It's probably not going to work for all fields, but it worked. So if I delete this now and refresh, you will see that my help text and description got updated for all the fields. This is the easiest thing to show because it doesn't have any validations for description and help text, you can change everything else as well, including types. But in this case, it might be tricky. So you change the type to a number, and now it validates against length, and there's precision and all kinds of things. But yeah, you can do that. And you can also create new fields here. So let's say I wanted to do something like this. That's just, so I'll need to, I'm not going to waste your time on that, but I would type in different API names for fields, and I can select them and say insert selected, and it will insert the new fields, but it will insert fields with that they will not be visible basically. So for that we have field level security tool. Just wanted to show you the dialog box here, where you can basically match any object, any combination of objects. So I can do account, for example, or rather I was doing test object, right? So test object, and I'll grab a permission set and a I don't know what else, admin profile, right? And run this into a new sheet. Just gonna keep everything separate. What's going on here? Should be faster than that.
While you are waiting, I want to ask about like you mentioned earlier is a sandbox data setting. Can you show a little bit later?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure. It shouldn't be that. Shouldn't be that solid. It's usually instantaneous. Let's do the count. You know, yeah, never mind. Yeah, I want to be mindful of your time. I'll double check what's going on here. But basically, the idea here is that you can cross check, like check multiple objects, multiple profiles, and then you'll get a spreadsheet that contains visible and editable flags for every field on that object. So you can control it, and you can upload it in bulk. So if you have 100 fields you want to update, you can do that from here. So what was your question about the exit rights?
Sandbox data setting. Like,
oh, yeah.
You have if you have a template, right? Like usually, like if you're setting up some like just putting some dummy data in Sandbox, like how can you do it? Can you do it more quickly here?
Yeah. So and I'll get out of here, and I'll just use this one. This can be the same functionality is available in the 365 version. But basically, again, it's not. We don't have like any automatic one button move the data to Sandbox, but you can quickly like pull something, like pull your accounts, for example, like maybe a subset of accounts, and select all, limit 100, run this, and now I can come here. And right now I'm in partial Sandbox. There's one more. So any like any org you log into, Sandbox or production, can be saved and can be listed here. So you can quickly switch into a different org. And now here you can do insert all. So let's assume this is your Sandbox. So you pull from production. This is your Sandbox. Yeah, I'm not gonna do this because it's a different org. I think it's like one of our customers, so I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But click on insert and you insert. Okay, there may be data validation issues here, but it just saves you time on uploading a Sandbox. And I mentioned it because that was my initial task, and that's why I created this tool in the first place. But then it grew into basically a multi-purpose data loading tool in Excel.
Yeah.
Isn't the tricky part of that Sandbox seating the lookups themselves? I mean, because how do you then populate the new? You'd have to. I mean, you still have to manually go through the process of pulling the IDs of those records you created and being able to match those up to. Let's say if you're going to load accounts and contacts, then how do the contacts have the IDs of the new accounts you just created?
Yeah. So that's actually a good question. Let me switch back to the Sandbox. So you would let me just it's a good example as well. So let's say we want account. We have accounts. So these are my accounts. I want to load them. I'll do insert. When I'm inserting, like insert all, let me see. Let me add a column here. New ID. So this is it's probably pulled the old IDs from this production, but I get another column. I create another column, and here I'll say insert. I'll make a selection here. Insert all. This is my insert, and there's a way to put the IDs, like the resulting IDs, into a column. So what is that? What's the number on that column? BC. So I can say put it into BC, and I run it. It's probably not going to work, but let's see. Oh, actually works. So I inserted some duplicate accounts. The IDs of the newly created records, they always are returned in the results area. However, I can also put it here to data to make it more user-friendly, usable. So now I have my new IDs. And then now when I'm creating contacts, I can reuse this. So if there's one account per contact, you can have multiple, you can add more columns for the contact data, or you can match. So now I could, like if I pulled contact, let's say, I'll just pull everything from contact. All right, it's a lot of columns, so it's a little bit slower. But yeah, so now I have my contacts. I can load them and use the, like, where is account ID? So I don't have any account IDs here, but I can do VLOOKUP for the account ID. Again, this is gonna take a little longer than you guys want me to, but the idea here, you create another column. So here, new account ID, and you do a VLOOKUP of this. So let's suppose there's an account ID here. You look up that ID in this table. So you'll select a table, the table array.
I was wondering if you had something that was like a shortcut to having to do all that.
Well, okay, yeah. So that's what I was going to say. There's no one-click way to do that, because you still have to, but it's a lot easier than dealing with CSV files.
If you want a one-click way, then buy own backup or pay for own backup.
Well, yeah, if you want to do that.
That's good. Thanks.
And I think that's it, guys. Again, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your patience.
One more question I have is like, do you still have the functionality to get the like field utilization data? Like you can have how many what's the percentage of the field has been utilized inside our org?
Oh yeah, that we have that. So it's called field utilization.
Yeah,
and you can pick an account, an object, pick what field you want to. Oops, sorry, wrong button. What field you want to analyze, run this, and it will create like a little report.
Nice. Okay, thank you. Yep, that looks good. Yeah.
So I got a question not related to this, but if you don't mind, Alex, so I find with this Bevy tool, these screens were so small I could hardly see, like the Excel spreadsheet. Is that something that you could have adjusted so they were bigger? Is that the Bevy tool that's? Can you make your Excel spreadsheet bigger fonts?
I guess, yeah, that's like this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just the sharing, and I think my screen is high resolution too, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, but no, we're just using a different tool for the very first time, and anyways, we just wanted to see if some of the things that we see that are not really nice, whether we can fix them or not. And so it turns out this is just your display of Excel versus the tool itself.
Probably.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think
And this is just $99 per user.
So you guys, so I'm sorry, the main thing I forgot to mention. For your time, I can set you up with unlimited access to this for free. So just if you're interested, just let me know. Send me an email. But yes, this is 99 is so we have two different plans. 99 is for the users. If you want to set up like I showed you, like setting up templates for sales reps or like regular Salesforce users, for them it's going to be $99. But they don't have access to all the features and they cannot do mappings and stuff. So the admin is $299 per user per year, but for you it's free. So let me stop sharing and I'm going to put my email address here. Just shoot me an email if you're interested. You'll have to install it, and I can send you the instructions. But whether you want it on Google Sheets, on Excel 365, or on an older Excel, shoot me an email and I'll create a free trial for you for the next 10 years.
That'll last.
Oh, you retired with that.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
No problem.
Now we'll just pass it along, or
Yeah, I will pass along. Yeah, I will pass along in the group. And I think you mentioned earlier, this is basically, you mentioned very good, this is a tool. Basically, it's a data loader inside Excel or like Google Sheet. Right?
Yeah, it is, plus some automation around it, plus some
Yeah.
convenient ways of doing things. Plus, in the Windows Excel version, all these metadata tools are just like a bonus.
Yeah, the metadata is nice.
Yeah, that's really powerful. Yeah.
I've not used it.
I used it with the profile.
Any other questions, guys?
Yeah.
I think we are good here. And yeah, thank
Thank you
so
so
much.
much for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Really great tool. And also, I found the speed is really getting faster. Like the loading speed.
Yeah, we are releasing a new version of the 365 version that's going to be way faster during upload. So uploads are I tested, like I was able to load hundreds of thousands of records in basically under a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, keep it up. Great stuff.
Thank you, guys. Thank
you so much for the time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Too bad Stuart wasn't here because he's trying to figure